Gamers, Bungie just dropped the twid. We know what's banned for tomorrow. What loadouts are we going to be running? Does anything change? Not really. Let's get into it. Tessellation is banned. Warlock Weavewalk Aspect is banned. Banner of War Titan, we knew that was coming. Foe Tracer, for some reason my Foe Tracer build got smacked. And Elemental Munitions mod, so we can't make unlimited amounts of heavy. So nothing really changed in the Hunter build. I'm just switching the mods, so I'm running the same mods as the Foe Tracer build, but I'm just switching to Assassin's Cowl. So I'm using Assassin's Cowl. I am going to have to put on some surges on my boots. So if you want to put on like 1 or 2 surges so that you can have a little bit of uptime of 10% more damage on your solar weapons, that'll be fine. Just make sure you switch to Star Eater for damage. So Foe Tracer mods and all the artifact mods and all the aspects you're running are still the same. It's just you're going to have to swap it out for Assassin's Cowl. Other than that, Solar and Arc Hunter will do just fine. What's going on, gamers? Crota day 1 loadouts. What am I using? What weapons am I bringing? What loadouts? We're gonna go over it right now. Now, I know before I even start mentioning weapons, there might not be your favorite weapon that I'm mentioning, but I couldn't go over my whole vault. So I wanted to pick out some fan favorites of mine that I'm gonna be using in the raid. Going over some kinetics, simply Riptide, Arbalist, Izanagi, Outbreak for Final Stand, Osteo to proc dot damage with the Strand Warlock, Secession, Heritage, Lumina, Rat King for the beginning. 6 Rat Kings. It's gonna be juicy. 1-2 punch shotgun for my Hunter. Night Watch Scout Rifle for long range. Quicksilver Storm for the Strand builds. Rufus's Fury if I'm using Strand. Wither Horde, Monte Carlo for some punch builds, and a good submission submachine gun. Going over energy weapons now. What would I bring in? Sunshot. Any solar build you're running in this raid, please have Sunshot on, proccing restoration. Divinity. Maybe we can't hit our shots and we need a debuff. Risk Runner. We're gonna be getting hit by some Arc Boomer Knights. Arc builds might be crazy using Risk Runner. Cloud Safe, just a nice long range scout rifle to use in your energy slot. Cartesian for swaps. I used Cartesian and explosive light grenade launcher on Ron day 1, did great damage. I have a 1-2 punch shotgun in my energy slot. Found Verdict. Callus mini tool for ad clear. Empty vessel for another swapping weapon with Izanagi. For Barons, I mean, you know we're bringing that in to do the lamps and do the other encounters. Best ad clearing weapon in the game. Trinity Ghoul works really good with arc builds. Ad clears insane. I've seen this weapon do so many crazy things in a day 1 raid. Please bring it. And finishing off the energy weapon, Irritive Loop. Craft this thing, lead from gold, volt shot, amazing. Sweet Sorrow, this has land tank on it. It does stack with your resilience, so it does give you more damage resist. The trace rifle from Ron, simply because if I use Briar's Contempt, I'll slap this on with a conditional finality that I didn't mention and give me ×2 harmonic resonance. Cold Heart, what if I want to slap on an Arc Warlock build? Cold Heart makes ionic traces. That new Eremite fusion rifle, it takes way too long to charge, so don't bring that. If you like it, use it. Akelos SMG for volt shot, it's amazing, and I have an Unforgiven SMG to proc Demolitionist, amazing weapon. Can't leave out Lament for some sword blocking, strongholds, or solar builds, so definitely bring that in. And then we get into the main DPS. Apex Predator, bait and switch, reconstruction. Don't sleep on bipod. I'm actually bringing bipod. I think it's easier to shoot and it's easier to rocket dump. Cold Comfort with Envious bait and switch or Envious bipod. Cataclysmic bait and switch. A Hothead with explosive light and field prep so I can get 10 rockets. I also have a field prep clown cartridge. Gallahorn, Commemoration Void machine gun, really good with subsistence and killing tally. Thunderlord, Briar's Contempt. Again, I was talking about that earlier. Hive Guardian DPS. Tractor Cannon for the high shotgun or high DPS rocket spams. And an Eager Edge sword. Now I want to cover some of the builds that I'm going to be rocking on my Hunter, my Warlock, and my Titan. I'm going to go over this stuff pretty quickly. I will have screenshots of my fragments and my mods that I'm using on each build. That way I don't have to go over everything. You guys are going to be like, get over with it already, you know, come on. So I'm going to launch into the raid with the Assassin's Cowl Arc Hunter build, jolting enemies, blinding them, going invis, Rat King special. I think this is going to be amazing. Here's the fragments and aspects you're going to be running for this build, and here's the mod. Simply, I'm running this build because I know that I could just chain lethal current, melee tons of enemies, go invis, and also put on ad clearing weapons, Thunderlord for Barons, you name it. This is going to be a really juicy build that everyone's going to enjoy, and also it will keep you alive. Now remember, always throw on Star Eaters. So I have 3 variations of this. I'm going to show you really quick. This is going to be a 1-2 punch shotgun build with Tractor Cannon. I do have on Liar's Handshake. Nothing really changes in the aspects, but I will just put them up on screen for you just so you can see that they do stay the same, or there might be something you might not be running with this build, and some of the mods might change. So here's the mods for this. Now, what if you want to throw down some high DPS? I definitely recommend throwing on Star Eaters with Gathering Storm. Is just amazing. I think everyone's going to know that this is going to be one of the highest DPS supers, and if it's long enough, you can throw this one, let it go away, and then the other hunter can throw another one. So running this is just absolutely amazing. I'm going to simply show you the mods and the fragments for this. So here's your fragments, here's your mods. Since I can't sit here and explain 20 builds to you to use in your day one clear, I'm going to give you a rundown of the solar build I would run with multiple exotics, and we'll just keep it simple like that. Foe Tracer for ad clear is amazing. I was testing it today. It's really hard to upkeep the Foe Tracer perk and the melees if a boss is pretty far from you. So I would suggest running this build to ad clear. Just have Sunshot on, proc restoration, and simply switch your helmet right before damage and put on Star Eaters and throw your Blade Barrage, no problem. Also remember that if you're running Foe Tracer and we have an Oversoul pop up, you can simply just switch to a Nighthawk. So this build opens up a lot of variety for what build you can run, or what exotics, what weapons. But if you really want to know the easiest way to stay alive, proc restoration nonstop with healing, Empyrean, and fire sprites, I'm going to show you these mods that you should be running for this build. Here's the fragments, and here's your mods. Again, just make sure that you're going into damage with triple surges on any character class that you have. So pretty much my strategy is triple surge on every single boss DPS, and then run scavengers on while I'm clearing ads so I can pick up ammo that I left off with. Another important thing that you're going to see with these builds, running exotic kinetics is going to make more heavy. So you can simply go up to your helmet and put heavy ammo scout, special ammo scout with a heavy ammo finder. Easy to do, make ammo for your teammates. Also, what if a champion comes out? I can just simply throw on Aeons real quick. I can take off Foe Tracer and put on Aeons and go hit a finisher so my teammates have ammo. There's so many different varieties you can do with this build, and that's why I wanted to showcase it so you can simply just dominate anything in that raid. I'm not going to be going over anything for Void because that's like Gsxrclyde and Omni, and I really feel like you're not going to need Tether in this day one, only if damage is tight and you need everybody damaging. And I didn't want to mention Strand because simply I would rather be on a DPS super. Hunter Strand super is not really a high DPS thing, and if you needed Strand in the fire team, you would probably run Titan. Stasis is overpowered in certain activities, but not for a day one, so I'm just going to recommend that solar build and the arc build. All right, Warlocks, you're up. Final raid that you're busted, and then they're going to nerf you in final shape. I'm kidding. Anyways, this build is very simplistic, just like the solar hunter. You're going to be running sun bracers. You can take off Icarus Dash and run heat rises with Phoenix Dive. This gives you twice restoration. 2 times restoration is amazing, and I just wanted to go over some fragments because I feel like this is important. Ember of Empyrean, anything solar abilities or weapons, you're going to get your restoration and radiant back. Searing, defeating scorched targets, aka your abilities or your weapons, are going to create a fire sprite, meaning you pick up a fire sprite right here with Mercy, it's going to grant restoration. So if it's not for your grenades, if it's not for your restoration, it's not for your Empyrean, there's always going to be something healing you, and that's what's huge. Plus your nades will as well. So I kind of wanted to go into detail there. But what if a champion comes out? Well, simply put on a trace rifle and just swap to Cenotaph real quick. Mark the target, get heavy ammo for your teammates, then just switch back. Maybe you're going into DPS and you need to pop a well. Rocket spamming now requires, if you really want to rocket dump, put on Lunafaction. So before you go into DPS, just switch your boots. It's that simple. You have 3 builds in one. So if I was you, I would just follow these tips, take it easy, never take this build off. If I was on a Warlock day one, I probably would never take off well, but we'll see. If you want to see what fragments I'm running for this build, again, I showed you, but we'll show you all the aspects and the settings I have for this, and also the mods that I'm using to generate all my abilities back. So what if you wanted to switch it up and run something besides well? Well, I understand that Strand is busted. People are rocking Fitting aspects with Strand Warlock. They're putting a grapple point on the ground and they're just reloading their weapons non-stop and doing a damage cycle of all 3 primary, energy, and heavy, and doing high outputs of DPS. If that's not for you, that's fine, but this build will demonstrate how easy it is to add clear with Strand Warlock. Necrotic Grip stacking with Osteo and getting that dot damage is huge. You still have your bait and switch, or you can run bipod, and you have Forbearance to clear ads. The poison stacks with this build and your abilities are up all the time, and you'll absolutely destroy any ads or suspend targets that you need. If you're wondering what to run for this build on fragments, it's all about regenerating your abilities and keep up time of your woven mail. Here's the mods that you're going to be running for the build to always have those abilities and do that. I know some people would say, hey Clyde, what about Arc Warlock? Why not run it? I mean, I have a loadout saved, Sunstar, but I really feel like you should play a well Warlock. Running Arc could be a disaster. It could cause res tokens to fall out, but again, slip on like Cold Heart with Sunstar, run whatever you want. It's going to be pretty simple for you to just create ionic traces and add clear machine, but you might need to stay alive on plates for mechanics, so you never know. But if you wanted me to just show you what I would run on an Arc Warlock or fragments and stuff, I'm going to just give you guys a hot shout out on this. I know if I would have left it out, people would have been like, well, what about the Arc Warlock? You know what I'm saying? So here's the fragments, here's the mods for this build. And now we get to the almighty good looking Titan right here. Bonk, Synthoceps, enough said, right? Empyrean, run Sunshot or a solar weapon, Callus mini tool. I don't care what you run, but just keep Bonk on. Don't ever take off Synthoceps. You can play into Burning Maul now and switch to the Pyrogale Gauntlets if your super hits the boss. If the boss is on the ground and you're able to slam the ground with your hammer, I would one off this super, just because even with just Pyrogale on, this super does 50k less than an Arc Hunter super, and that is one of the highest burst damage supers in the game. So and then simply just switch back to Synthos. You can use whatever you want. I know some people are going to switch it up, but again, I think Bonk Hammer Titan is going to be good. You know, you got Solar Surges, you'll have no problem. Empyrean, staying alive, non-stop healing. All you have to do is simply throw a healing grenade at your feet and go bonk stuff. And the way for you to stay alive with this is running these certain aspects. Empyrean, so you keep hitting your refreshed restoration. And these are the mods you're going to be running to always get your healing grenades back and your abilities back to chain them for easy ad clear. Banner of War aspect might get disabled, and if it does, we're not going to be able to have fun with the Monte Carlo Spider-Man build. I released a full video on this. It's absolutely nuts, but I'm telling you, it could work. 1-2 punch, running up to everything, grappling big enemies and just going up to them and meleeing them. We know that this super does good damage. We know that we can stack it with 1-2 punch. If they for some reason ban it and you still want to rock Synthocep with your Strand Titan, that's no problem, because your melees are still going to do good damage and you're also going to get good super damage. If you want to run ambient leaps, you can, but for DPS sakes and staying alive with your melees, running Monte Carlo or running whatever you want, I'm going to show you the aspects I would run for this build. This is the aspect setup and the fragment setup for this Strand Titan build. Here's the mods you're going to use to always get back your class ability and your grenade, because your melee is going to probably always be back with your Monte Carlo. Arc Titan's amazing for day one raids, just simply because you can put on Spark of Ions and always make ionic traces, and your grenades jolt targets. So if you jolt targets and then ions, you create ionic traces from jolted targets. You're always spamming your grenade. It's absolutely insane. A pair Trinity goal with this build, and I'm telling you, everything just falls over. And then if you need to go into DPS, you just swap your chest piece and get that Thunder Crash off. Easy clap, switch back. One of my favorite builds to run on the Titan is this Arc Titan. It's been a good showcase on day one raids. It's good survivability, but again, it's so hard to take off Bonk. But if you're wondering what aspects to run for this build, you're going to be running something like this. Again, it's all about Spark of Ions, Magnitude, Shock, Resistance. And here's the mods you're going to run to always get those abilities back. Recuperation, Invigoration, Absolution, always getting all your abilities back to chain with Heart of Inmost Light. Remember, Heart of Inmost Light got tuned down a little bit, but with these mods, it doesn't feel like it. One last honorable shout out. You do know in D1, Bubble buff the Sword Bearer. If we're able to sword Crota, Weapons of Light buff on stage is going to be great. You can simply run Heart of Inmost Light, chain your debuff abilities, Volatile and all that. And when you're getting ready to pop a bubble, you simply just switch to Crest of Alpha Loopy. Put those orbs on stage, put a well down there. Think about it. Your Sword Bearer can jump up on that stage on the right side with Crota and already have 6 or 7 orbs laying there. That's insane, right? They're already going to have their supers simply because you played support for this. Bubble Titan might be good. Who knows? But if you want to know what I'm running for it, I'm all about chaining my abilities and making things volatile and staying alive with Devour. So here is the fragments and the aspects that I'm running for this build. And here's the mods that are playing into my abilities. I wanted to make this simplistic as I could. I know it's a lot of information to go over, so I figured if I just ran through it quick like this, if you were looking for a certain build, you would see it there in the shout outs that I gave. I will add the builds and dim links down below, so if you did need something and you needed to study it further because you didn't see something on screen, I'll have the dim links in the description down below. Good luck to you and your fire team on the day one raid race. Hopefully these builds might have helped you or helped your friends get ready for the raid. I hope to see you on raid day in Twitch chat, because when you come and watch Twitch chat, you're going to get the Twitch Rivals emblem. That's right, this beautiful emblem. I'm going to pop it up on screen right here. All you got to do is leave my tab open for 2 hours and you get a cool emblem for you and your fire team. And you can probably teach me how to do the raid because I'll be struggling. Just kidding. I'll see you guys then.